Daryl says it's unforgivable what's happened at Norwich this week. The club has hit a new low. What an absolute disgrace. Welcome back to where Canaries walk. We should be talking, of course, and we will be talking about the win at Blackburn, but there's anger at Napa. Fans are saying Napa out after the terrible decision to sell Nunes to Ipswich Town. We'll get into that discussion in a second. We're also talking about the last chance for new faces to be added. We're also welcoming new faces back as well. And what's the biggest derby this season? I wonder what our fans will say to that. Plus, we're looking at the third shirt as well. Welcome back to 20 minutes of Norwich City chat. We've got Matty, Cillian and Oliver with us. Thank you very much for watching. We're building a nice little Norwich community here. We're grateful to have you as a subscriber. Now, Matty, where shall we start this? Where shall we start this week? Give us your honest reactions then to when this news dropped. First of all, yeah.
I like the two ones you've gone with.
Yeah, there's the polite ones as well.
Yeah. There was an interesting atmosphere, let's call it, in the away end yesterday. Regarding this, as was was to be expected. To quote Tom, who can't make today's recording, my head was on Mars when I heard it. I was gobsmacked, to be honest with you. I get that there's a hell of a bit of business that's been done by the club. 10 million for a player who's injury prone, is injured at the moment, didn't have long left on his contract. It's an unbelievable bit of business. It's to them, and it shouldn't have happened, really, should it? So still quite shocked, to be honest.
Yeah, it led then Oliver to these kind of posts here. We were on Norwich back. Craig said all parties can get effed, especially Ben Napa. I mean, these are some of the more polite ones. We've got another one here. Sam says, I would have rather sold him to Timbuktu for a tenner and some magic beans than to sell to that lot. And it's insane decision-making happening at our club. Do you get the fallout, Oliver, or are people just being a little bit too reactionary?
I do get the fallout. I was baffled by it at first, I'm sure, with many people as well. When I first saw it being released, I thought it was just a joke, to be honest. But I think it is a little bit overreactionary at the same time, because I was kind of thinking about all the sort of good work Napa's done this window. I was actually quite impressed with what he's done, but this is quite a big sort of, I guess you could call it an error, and it's kind of undone a lot of that good work. But I'm still backing him personally.
Yeah. Cillian, can you see the positives? Can you see the cash in the bank and a player that has refused to sign and very short time left on his contract, or do you just is your fury calmed yet?
Yeah, I think it's great for the economy. I think for the first time ever, the country will sell out of inflatable rats and snakes. I did see Ben Napper yesterday sneaking into Ewood Park, and he was doing his best to avoid any fans. But I think obviously the results yesterday probably appeased a number of people. And given Ipswich probably needed that distraction, seeing as their on-field performance hasn't been great. So we'll get over it. Bring on the 5th of October.
Watch him come down with a mystery illness on the 4th of October. I mean, Cillian, obviously you spoke to most of the players and you know them quite well. Did anyone see this coming?
No, it seemed to be a bit of a shock. I was talking to a couple of people from the club at the match, and it did come as a bit of a surprise. And I think generally, from what I gathered, most of the players were quite shocked that he would even contemplate doing it. So I don't think he's done himself any favours, certainly not with the Norwich faithful, and that includes the current batch of players.
Yeah, I mean, there's not been a transfer, Matty, between the two clubs for over 12, 13 years, something like that, even longer. Yeah. You just don't sell, not only to your most hated rivals, but a rival in the same division, which you're potentially both going to be challenging for the top, do you? I mean, this is the club have really dropped the ball here. Sell to Southampton, sell to Leicester, potentially sell to, put him on loan somewhere.
Anyone but them. Yeah. No, and I get that, in the grand scheme of East Anglia that youth players do go from team to team. Obviously, Liam Gibbs is a good example and our first team player. But in terms of, I'm not going to say he's a star player at Norwich, but he's a starter and he's a decent player, albeit as I say injury prone. So yeah, just very, very strange. And even stranger that he's come out and said that he didn't want to be playing Championship football and he's gone to a team that's been relegated from the Premier League who've not yet won a game. So very, very peculiar all around. Not brilliant from Norwich, not great from a PR perspective. Fans understandably livid. But as you say, yesterday might just have helped sort of. I think fans are still going to be mentioning it and it won't go, quietly anytime soon. But yesterday maybe just helped improve the mood a little bit.
Okay. It wasn't the only exit, of course, this week. We've got to mention this fella as well. Tears of sadness around twice, Oliver. George Long's left on loan to Southampton. How will you get over it?
I don't think I will go over it, to be honest. No, I mean, in serious, I don't know how he's got moved to Southampton, to be fair. I thought it was actually quite good for him, even being third choice there. So, fair play to him. But yeah, it was good to get him out because he was sort of just lingering about. But now he's gone, so all good. Okay.
Right then, Cillian, let's draw on your fountains of knowledge here. What do we know about our incomings? Is it? Are we calling him? Is it Pele? Can't be called Pele, surely.
I could.
Pele Matson. What do we know? What can we look forward to?
He seems like a solid player. He's very. I mean, at the time of obviously the fallout from the other fella, the contrast with this guy's passion for joining Norwich was quite evident in his welcome video. He seems like a decent enough player. Not sure he's had a great goal contribution or assist contribution, so he's more of a defensive midfielder. He was on the bench on Saturday. Hard to tell anything from. He didn't get on, obviously, so just hard to tell anything from a warm up. But I've heard a few of the players interviewed and say that he's settled in well already. So yeah, I think he's a good addition. I mean, it was always him and Topic, and we got 2 for 1 maybe. Double bubble.
Yeah.
So I think we do well.
Yeah. I've seen lots of tweets to Topic this week with the Roy Keane leg breaker on Haaland saying, Topic, this is your mission come 5th of October. Okay, let's focus on the Blackburn game then a second, shall we, Matty? Joe says, it was the least deserved 2-0 win that I can ever remember. But do I care? Not one jot. Inject Todd Campbell's tears into my veins. You Norwich fans are really funny this season. Is he right? Undeserved?
Yeah, maybe on that second half performance. Cillian's knows this is coming after our discussion in the pub after the game yesterday. But I wasn't happy with that second half performance. We weren't brilliant, and we had to rely on 3 very, very good saves from Vlahovic. So yeah, I'm a little bit. The win's great. The win's great for morale. It's a very much needed win after the defeat to Middlesbrough and obviously Southampton in the League Cup. But in terms of areas to improve on, there's still a lot of areas to improve on. So it was maybe a 5 or a 6 out of 10, and yet somehow we kept a clean sheet and got 3 points. So I shouldn't be too bothered, should I? But it's a tiny bit concerning because Blackburn looked a bit average, really. So yeah, let's not forget they had 10 men for a hell of a long time as well. So work's still to be done, but I'm happy.
Okay. Last week, if you were here, we were talking about formations and what formations should be set up. Stuart says, Oliver, well done, lads, and Liam for changing the tactics. Great performance. Riverhead Norwich says, well, if that's the 3 that shifts into a 4 in possession that we saw at Watford, we may as well announce 3 points now already. Tactically, formation-wise, what did he change it, and did it work?
Yeah, I mean, it worked better. I think it was a 4-back, but I think it did sort of change, as I just said, in the match, sort of to 3-back. So I was happy with it. I think if you went out there with, he had been playing a 3-back and we lost with everything that sort of happened in the week, it would have been quite tense. So I don't think that tactical change worked really well, to be honest. And it wasn't the prettiest win. Second half was sloppy, but that we got there, and that's what matters. I'm happy with the result.
Yeah, Cillian, your thoughts on the selections?
Yeah, I thought it was better. I mean, I don't think we've got the players necessarily to play the five at the back, especially with Stacey injured at the minute. I think Fisher looks a lot better on the 4, and he played well, I thought, yesterday. And I do think we changed things up a little bit up front. And Chris Gordon hasn't been on much, hasn't had much game time. And he looks quite tricky, and I think he'll be a handful for teams. And it was only for the last couple of minutes, cameo from McCama, but he looked really good against Southampton. So I think there is hope with that sort of lineup. But again, I think the club is very much, or Liam is certainly saying that he wants that flexibility. And I listened to an interview with Ben Cresani afterwards, and he was pretty comfortable saying no matter which way we played, that we'd be okay. So okay. I don't think the fans calling for a 4 is necessarily going to be listened to. I think Liam will do what he believes is right, which is probably the appropriate thing. We picked him as our manager, so
yeah, fair enough. So Matty, a bad week ends well, but it's 2 weeks off now. Is the international break coming at just the right time, just to get a few players back, just to get a few more training issues sorted out, new players bedded in?
Yeah, I think it's probably come at just about the right time. Had we drawn or even lost yesterday, definitely would have come at the right time. But I think that in terms of, there's a couple of players out injured. I know maybe Forson's a longer term one. But we've got McLean back. He's kind of built up. I think he played 75 minutes or so yesterday. Chris Gardner, as Cillian mentioned, is building up his fitness. So yeah, it'd be good to hopefully get through the international break without any of our lads getting any knocks or any injuries, and then we'll be in a slightly stronger position come the middle of September, hopefully, and take a bit of momentum into early October when we play you know who.
Okay. Coventry City, then next, Wrexham and Stoke along the next couple of games as well, Oliver. You decent record against Coventry. They were talking about earlier. Yeah, I mean, what's the minimum points return from September from those games? We've got our first midweek game, of course, coming up as well.
I think 2 wins. I think 6 points would be good. I do think we'll beat Coventry. Normally we're quite good away there. Wrexham will be an interesting one because I don't particularly like Wrexham, and I don't think they've been particularly great yet. But no, I fancy us to get 6 points in September, so I think that should boost morale, hopefully.
Of course, we're going to be reviewing every single fixture here every single week on Where Canaries Walk, so do join us all for that. Finally, this week then, let's have a look at this, shall we? The third kit. We've done home, we've done away. Goodness. Cillian, you be buying this one?
I'll give this one a miss, just in case other people wanted it. I don't like to be greedy. No, I'm not a fan of it, to be honest.
Okay. Matty?
You know that line from in between us? Too jazzy? It's maybe a little bit too jazzy. However, it's different, isn't it? Like, it's better than the away kit for me.
It's what away kits are supposed to be, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in your face. It's out there. We look a little bit fruity in it, but I'm all right with that.
Okay, Oliver, are you going to be spending your student loan on it?
Yeah, I might treat myself actually, because I don't mind getting the more like vivid kits. So why not?
And when we come back, of course, Pompey and Southampton return in their fixtures. Derby, the real South Coast Derby return. So it's begged the question, of course, what is the biggest derby in the league this season? And I suppose before the events of this week, we might have said that Southampton Pompey could have been the fiercest one, but I tend to think, Cillian, given the events of this week, that maybe the East Anglian derby might be a little bit tempestuous, more than usual.
It probably has that. There's definitely an opportunity for it to be a bit tempestuous, all right. And I think it'll be interesting to see how both teams do in September. It'll give us a good idea of how tempestuous it'll be. Yeah. I think it's the big one this year. It's also historically the longest unbeaten run for any championship derby. So if nothing else, that's a record that would be hard for any team to beat, even if, God forbid, we did lose. It's still the record that no other team's likely to take anytime soon.
Okay. Matty, without your yellow tinted spectacles on, what is the biggest derby in the Championship?
Yeah, it's difficult, really. South Coast one is a big and still City derby's huge as well. You know, Sheff Wednesday, Sheff United, it's big. I think any derby where there's two clubs in the same city probably takes precedence. But yeah, obviously I know you've told me not to, but I have to put my Norwich glasses on and say that the East Anglia derby, you know, it is people kind of downplay it. I think if they don't know the history or the context, or kind of if they're not involved in it, but it is feisty. It is a hell of an affair. It's you know, maybe a bit more old farm than old firm, but in terms of what it means to the fans, it's any Ipswich, any Norwich fan will tell you that it's the biggest one in the league.
Yeah. I mean, our Birmingham fan, Oliver, gave a different view on it and said, well, look, the biggest derby is going to be the one that has the most people watching it, surely. So therefore they put forward Birmingham versus Wrexham will be the most watched derby, if you like. So we've got all that to contend with now as well, all that nonsense.
That's an awful take, that. Very good.
Right. Join us next week then. We will all have calmed down a little bit. Join us in 2 weeks' time. We'll all calm down a little bit. And also we'll be looking at the Coventry review. And we're asking these guys to grade the transfer window as it finally slams shut this week. Sargent going, quick yes or no, Matty?
No.
Cillian?
No.
Oliver?
Absolutely not.
Fingers crossed. Right. See you then in 2 weeks' time. All the best.
Cheers.